Being a Sigma male might seem like an idealized dream. They are often independent, confident, and in many cases appear to have life completely figured out on their own terms. But behind this fascinating and almost mysterious image, there is a dark side that is rarely mentioned. Sigma males not only face common challenges, their way of being presents unique problems that often go unnoticed, even to themselves. This video is for those who identify with this personality or are curious to understand it deeply. Here, we will explore the uncomfortable truths, those lesser-known aspects that can be both a blessing and a burden. We won't romanticize independence nor ignore the difficulties that come with living as a Sigma. Why should you stay? Because what you're about to discover could give you clarity about yourself or someone you know deeply. Don't skip a single second of this video, because every point could completely change how you see the Sigma personality and its impact on life. Ready? Let's begin. Number 1. The weight of absolute independence. Being completely independent sounds amazing, doesn't it? Not having to answer to anyone, making your own decisions, and marching to the beat of your own drum. But here's the part no one mentions. Absolute independence doesn't come with days off. Sigmas are the type who believe they can carry the world on their shoulders, but they don't realize that the backpack they're carrying has no bottom. Have you ever tried to move a couch by yourself without help? At first, it seems manageable until you realize it's dragging you along with it. That's how it feels to be a Sigma when independence becomes a burden. It's not that they can't ask for help, it's that they don't. Maybe out of pride, or perhaps because they feel no one else will do it as well as they would. But the truth is, they always end up exhausted. The dark side of this independence is that in their quest not to rely on anyone, Sigmas can end up feeling isolated. It's a bit like building an impenetrable castle to protect yourself, only to realize you're now trapped inside, without company. Being self-sufficient is admirable, but it can also be lonely. Sigmas need to learn that being strong doesn't mean doing everything alone, and that sometimes accepting a helping hand doesn't make you weak, but more human. Who said independence doesn't have a price? Number 2, the discomfort of being surrounded by people. Sigmas and crowds have a complicated relationship. Imagine yourself at a party full of people, everyone talking at once, loud laughter, and someone with a guitar trying to sing Wonderwall. For many, that sounds like fun. For a Sigma, it's almost like medieval punishment. It's not that they don't enjoy socializing, but their threshold for superficial interactions is quite low. If there's no interesting conversation or real purpose, they simply can't fake enthusiasm. Sigmas feel that crowds drain their energy instead of giving it. It's as if they carry a battery that discharges quickly in social environments. While others recharge with the buzz, they're mentally planning how to leave without it seeming like they're fleeing. But here's the catch. That distance they maintain to protect their energy can make them appear cold or uninterested, which isn't entirely true. In fact, when a Sigma truly connects with someone, that connection can be deeper than any conversation at a party. The dark side here is that by avoiding interactions they consider unnecessary, they might miss out on important opportunities, whether in work, love, or simply life. It's a tough balance, protecting their mental peace without closing themselves off to the world. Perhaps the secret lies in finding those few moments and people that are truly worth it. Because let's admit it, you can't avoid Wonderwall every day. Number 3, the obsession with authenticity that scares others. Sigmas have an unwavering commitment to authenticity. For them, being genuine isn't optional. It's a necessity. They're not interested in sugarcoating things or masking the truth to make it more digestible. Their motto seems to be, it's better to make people uncomfortable with the truth than to please them with a lie. Admirable, yes, but not always easy for those around them to handle. Imagine someone asks, "How does this suit look on me?" While others might reply with a simple, "It looks good," the Sigma is more likely to say something like, "It's not your best choice, but if you feel comfortable, go for it." They don't do this out of cruelty, but because they believe that telling the truth is an act of respect. However, not everyone is ready to receive such direct honesty. Sometimes people prefer a small, harmless lie to boost their ego. The dark side of this extreme authenticity is that it can alienate Sigmas from others. We live in a world where superficial interactions are the norm, and someone who cuts straight to the point might come across as insensitive or arrogant. But for Sigmas, compromising their authenticity would be like losing a part of themselves. Perhaps the challenge lies in finding a balance. It's not about lying, but choosing how and when to share the more uncomfortable truths. Because sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it that makes all the difference. Number 4, the curse of hyper-awareness. For a Sigma, the world isn't seen in black and white. They perceive it in all possible shades, as if they live in ultra-high definition. This sounds fascinating, but in reality, it can be exhausting. They can't simply let things go, because their mind is constantly analyzing every detail. If someone furrows their brow, the Sigma doesn't just notice the gesture. They begin deciphering the possible reasons behind it. Everything becomes an endless puzzle. It's like carrying an internal radar that never turns off. While others enjoy the moment, they're busy processing social dynamics, unspoken words, and hidden intentions. And while this gives them a significant advantage in life, it can also be an emotional burden. Knowing too much about people's motivations, the world's problems, or even their own limitations can feel like carrying an invisible weight. The dark side of this hyper-awareness is that it rarely allows them to mentally rest. It's hard to relax when your mind is constantly switched on, processing everything around you like a supercomputer. Sometimes they wish they could turn off that radar, even just for a moment, to enjoy life without questioning everything. Perhaps the solution isn't ignoring what they see, but learning to let go of what they can't control, because in the end, no one can solve all the problems, not even a Sigma. Number 5, the difficulty of finding genuine connections. Sigmas have a natural gift for connecting with people. But here's the catch. Those connections are often as intense as they are fleeting. For them, a relationship isn't built on maintaining appearances or exchanging empty compliments, but on depth. If there's no real purpose or genuine spark, the relationship tends to fade away like smoke. This doesn't mean that Sigmas don't value people, quite the opposite. But their standards are high. If they perceive that a connection doesn't align with their values, or that the other person doesn't share their same intensity, they simply withdraw. They don't do this out of selfishness, but because they believe it's better not to force something that doesn't flow naturally. However, this approach can lead to a constant sense of transience, as if no relationship is truly lasting. The dark side here is the loneliness that can result from this pattern. While others cultivate friendships or relationships with a lighter foundation, Sigmas might feel as if they're on an island, searching for a connection that's truly worth it. Ironically, though they value authenticity above all, that very authenticity can make relationships harder to sustain. Perhaps the challenge isn't in changing their essence, but in accepting that not all relationships need to be deep to be meaningful. Sometimes the light and casual ones have their value too. Number 6, when going against the system leaves you isolated. Sigmas weren't born to follow the rules, especially those they see as useless or limiting. If anything defines this personality type, it's their ability to question the status quo. They don't care if the majority is moving in one direction. They will always seek their own path, even if it means walking alone. For a Sigma, social norms aren't a map, but rather obstacles in their quest for authenticity. But here's the dilemma. This rejection of the system, while empowering, can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it gives them incredible freedom. They're not bound by expectations or pressured by public opinion. However, on the other hand, this constant attitude of swimming against the current can leave them isolated. Sometimes the price of not fitting into the mold is not finding a place where they truly belong. The dark side of this trait is that it can be lonely. While others build connections through conformity, Sigmas find themselves watching from the shadows, true to themselves but with a sense of disconnection. It's not about changing who they are, but understanding that at times, being flexible doesn't mean betraying yourself. It means finding common ground with the world. Being a Sigma means being a rebel with a cause, but even rebels need allies. Perhaps the biggest challenge is learning that sometimes rules aren't chains, they can be bridges to connect with others. Number 7, the silent struggle within a Sigma. On the outside, Sigmas appear to have everything under control, confident, independent, almost impenetrable. But behind this calm exterior lies a constant battle. Sigmas are their own harshest critics, always analyzing their decisions, questioning if they did enough or wondering if they could have done better. It's like having a personal coach in your head that never takes a break. This internal conflict isn't visible to those around them. In fact, many see them as unshakable figures, but the truth is they're in a constant dialogue with themselves. A Sigma might spend hours reflecting on a comment they made in a conversation or questioning whether their current path truly reflects who they are. Perfection isn't their goal, but the endless self-evaluation can sometimes leave them trapped in their own minds. The dark side of this trait is the emotional fatigue it generates. Being in a constant state of questioning can be exhausting. While others move forward without looking back, Sigmas review every step, searching for meaning in everything they do. It's admirable, yes, but it can also make them miss out on the simple joy of living in the moment. Perhaps the challenge lies in accepting that not everything needs to be analyzed and that making mistakes is part of the process. After all, even Sigmas need to remember that true strength doesn't always lie in finding all the answers. It lies in learning to live with the questions. The Sigma personality is, without a doubt, a fascinating enigma. Throughout this video, we've uncovered the lesser-known and most challenging aspects of being a Sigma male, from the loneliness that accompanies their independence to the weight of their unwavering authenticity. While this personality type is admired for its strength and uniqueness, it's not immune to challenges that, when understood, can turn into opportunities for growth. The most valuable takeaway is that being a Sigma doesn't mean being invulnerable, and accepting these shadows is the first step to using them as a driving force for change. It's not about fitting into societal molds or avoiding being who we are, but about finding the balance between our independence and our humanity. If there's one thing that's clear, it's that true strength doesn't lie in avoiding vulnerability, but in embracing it with wisdom. Are you ready to face your Sigma side? If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content. Here's a recommended video about the Sigma male. See you soon.